Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Sharumali. So today we are going to present about the market and stock analysis. So this is my team members.
Thus, for the consumer goods and service sector, we choose Jacob and Lihan as company that we want to analyze.
Interpretation, we are choose Genting Malaysia and Far East Holding Berhad. Berhad was incorporated as a AQIL Resources Berhad in 2002 when it was listed in Bursa Malaysia Berhad. Jacob, which manufacture and sell rubber boot furniture, is one of the company 5 division. Jacob Berhad is an investment holding company while its subsidiary principal activity are wooden furniture manufacturing, pressure treatment, and kiln drying of wood, biomass, corrugated carton packaging.
So, what is Lihan? Lihan is a group of company which focus on the furniture production as a fully integrated wooden furniture entity. Because of this, each subsidiary specialized in separate field. All in all, it is a Malaysia-based investment holding company that was founded on 1994. The company is based in Muar, Johor and was incorporated on 9 October 2007 into the Bursa, Malaysia.
Far East Holding Berhad was incorporated in Malaysia on 6 August 1973 as a private limited company under the name Far East Holding Sendirian Berhad. In December 1990s, the corporation debuted on the Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad. Far East Holding Berhad is a Malaysia-based company engaged in the cultivation of oil palm and investment holding.
Genting Plantations Berhad was incorporated as a private limited company on 29 September 1977. It commenced operations in 1980 as the plantation arm of the Genting Group, founded by the late Tan Sri Lim Gotong, and in 1982. It gained a listing on Bursa Malaysia, then known as the Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange. Genting Plantation Land Bank has since grown by leaps and bounds, spreading over Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah and Indonesia.
Move to the performance comparison, FBM KLCI versus the company in a long term 2019 to 2021. The FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI companies comprise the largest 30 company listed on the main board by full market capitalization that meet the eligibility requirement of the FTSE Bursa Malaysia ground rule. Label A, on a 3 March, the price fell from the 0.492 to 0.35. This indicates the short-term trend. In the case of the drop trend, we can see this is because the economy was hit by the COVID-19 crisis, and the Prime Minister had announced the imposition of 14 days movement control order, which is causes the stock value to fall. After that, the price moved to March 2023. By that time, the price reached to the support level. It believed that the demand overcome supply and prevent the price from falling below the support. Then the buyer become more inclined to buy. As we can see, when the price fall, there is an increase in the volume. Is a strong confirmation that the fall in the price is a real, than that the price movement had a strength. Table B, on the 23 March, if we compare to with the FBM KLCI with the line chart movement moving in the same direction, which is the chart is a moving uptrend. This show that the economy is recovering from the occurrence of the COVID-19 and MCO in Malaysia from the lowest price, which is 0.35 in 23 March 2020. The buyer can take advantage at this point, which is buyer become more inclined to buy. After that, the line of chart move uptrend. If we see in the chart, this first high for this element uptrend, its successive low must not fall below the previous lowest point or trend a dim or reversal. For the last one, in the label C, on a 6 October 2021, at the price 0.81, as the price decline towards support and get cheaper, the other side is a below 30. This indicates that the price will become bearish for a moment. Buyer become more inclined to buy. Then the price become bearish to 1.005 in 22 October 2021. The price become the highest price and the gauge as a resistance line.
Next, it shows that 35 February price that is highest in that week, warning it begin to downtrend from that point onward. This end on 19 March where the price is at 55 cents. If compared to the FBM KLCI A2, we see strong correlation. So what happened? It is due to the external factor as there is COVID worries and sudden political crisis as Dr. Mahathir resigned on 25 February and the Pakatan Harapan government fell suddenly. B shows powerful uptrend in price after some days since 19 March. This uptrend continued until highest at RM 1.58 cents on 18 November 2020. This correlates with the index, but Lihan uptrend are more consistent and has less pullback. Reason why it go high even when government imposed MCO beginning in 18 March is investor optimism. Global economies start to open. COVID cases are under control. Government recovery plan, low interest rate, OPR cuts, loan moratorium help a lot. during this time. Not only that, many firms implement work from home policy and government announce stimulus package all around the world. This make people has more money and wants furnitures, giving the industry strong demand. C shows beginning of bearish trend from high 18 November until price is low 97 cent on 18 August next year. This also correlate, but index has a slower and steady downtrend momentum, unlike Lihan, which is rapid and more dramatic. Reason is due to the profit-taking selling run momentum, negative market sentiment because of continuously high case of COVID and political uncertainties. Lihan subsidiary also faced EMCO in more factory. There is also MCO 3.0 that start beginning 1 June and its subsequent extension that sparked concern for the economic recovery.
In Label A in March, the surge of COVID-19 cases occurred in Malaysia. In this period, the downtrend pattern happens. The events affected the price stock of Far East from RM2.75 to RM2 on 31 March. The price of stock falls drastically in just 1 month prior to the COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia. As we look at the performance of FB and KHAI, the price movement also dropped in this period. This shows that this drop in price movement also happened to all businesses in Malaysia. In Label B, on 25 August until 1 December of 2020, the trend shows an uptrend trend line. If we compare with the performance of FB and KHAI, the price movement also in an uptrend trend lines. This shows that Far East is slowly recovering from the pandemic COVID-19 impact as the price from RM2.22 rose to RM2.90 on 25 August. In Label C, on 15 February to 1 June 2021, the price of the stock sharply increased from RM3 to RM3.80. This shows an uptrend trend line. At the start of February 2021, the stock price movement began a bullish pattern. The price of RM3.80 is recorded as the highest price of stock from February 2020 until the latest date of 1 June 2022.
This is the performance comparison of KLCI versus Genting Plantations. Line A was created to indicate a downward trend in the share price of Genting Plantation in the beginning of the 2020. As a direct result of the COVID-19 epidemic, this stock's price fell dramatically from RM10.80 per share to RM8 per share. When we examine the cost of Label A and FB and KLCI, within this time span, we can see that both have significantly decreased. Aside from that, Label B shows that GENP stock is currently on an upward trend from RM8.40 to RM10.40. The Genting Plantation showed some signs of making a full recovery. When Label B is compared to the KLCI, it can be seen that the trend movement throughout the same period is exactly the same. When the movement control order MCO was first put into effect, the Bursa Malaysia stock market immediately began to rebound, and this trend continued during the second term of MCO. And last but not least, the Label C data revealed a significant pattern for the entire year of 2021. The price of a share of the Genting Plantation stock has dropped to its lowest level in the past 9 years, falling from RM10 to RM6.40. If we compare it to the FB and KLCI, we can see that Genting Plantation showed a more steeper decrease than the FB and KLCI, which only showed a modest decline.
Next, about the consumer good and service sector, which we focus on the furniture industry. Development begin on the colonial period, where the outputs are mainly for domestic consumption. After independence, 1970s government recognized its importance. They create policy framework to support value-added industry and encourage industrial transformation. Meanwhile, 1986 onwards saw rapid expansion. As a result of this growth, 85% total furniture production are exported to 160 countries around the world, and Malaysia became the top 10 exporter of this sector. Contribution to the GDP is 64.7% of volume index wholesale trade registered. Meanwhile, the prospects are: first, the Malaysia global wooden furniture market revenue are predicted to reach 550 billion USD by 2037. Then, NIA initiative targets economic diversity and capacity to this industry. The implementation of 4.0 industry tech and improving the product quality and uniformity also add to this industry. Then we go for the market size and market share. As the total household good cap is 4.07 billion ringgit. Jacob market share is 0.179 billion ringgit, which hold 4.4% of industry. That put it in the 8th position in the top 10 ranking. Lihan market size is only 0.42 billion ringgit, which hold 10.6% of industry, that put it at the 2nd position.
Then we go to the performance of plantation industry. Firstly, the development. It was in 1917 that Tenamaran Estate in Selangor planted the first palm oil plantation in Malaysia. In the early 1960s, a government program for agricultural diversification led to a rapid increase in oil palm cultivation. During the 1960s, the government introduced land settlement scheme to help landless farmer and smallholder from poverty. Then the prospect, oil producer will continue to benefit from remunerative pricings. And lastly, more substantial palm oil production in Malaysia is expected in 2022 and above compared to 2021. Net is the contribution of GDP. The contribution of the agriculture sector to Malaysia GDP in 2020 is 7.4%. The percentage growth of this sector declined 2.2% from 2.0% in the previous year. And lastly, for the market size and market share, total plantation market capitalization is 122.934 billion ringgit. Genting Plantation is in 7th position in the top 10 with 5.205 billion ringgit, and Far East Holding Berhad is in 9th position in top 10 with 2.016 billion ringgit, 1.64%.
There are two sections on the Jacob chart, which is the first semi and second semi. For the first semi, we move to the double simple moving average on 13 September 2021. This indicates the buy signal because when the shortest moving average crosses above the longer average. For the MACD, crosses above the signal line, which is negative 0.0074. This indicates that the indicator is giving a bullish signal and it's time to buy. We can also see that the MACD rise dramatically. This means that the shorter moving average pull away from the longer moving average. It is a signal buy that the security is overbought and it will soon return to normal level. For the RSI goes above the 30, which is a 33.3%, and this we call that the overline is indicator buy signal because it will move above the crosses the oversold line. Furthermore, the RSI help to indicate whether the security has seen more buying or selling pressure over the trading period. But for this time, for this chart is show the buy signal. After that, the stochastic indicator, if we see to the line of chart of stochastic, it shows the increasing the K line is 37.5% crosses above the 16.7%, which is a D line in oversold line. Then it will show the signal buy. Second semi, we move to the double simple moving average on the 26th April 2022. This indicates the buy signal because when the shorter moving average crosses above the longer average, we know that the buy signal appears when the 10 period double simple moving average crosses above the 25 period. If we see to the chart, it a move uptrend. The MACD crosses above the signal line, which is in 0.025. This indicates that the indicator is giving a bullish signal and it's time to buy. If we look to the line of chart after the MACD crosses above the signal line, we can also that the signal that we can also see that the MACD rises dramatically. In addition, if we look to the RSI goes above the 30, which is 31.7%. This indicated the buy signal because it will move above the crosses the oversold line. But for this line, the chart show the buy signal. After that, the stochastic indicator, stochastic come into two types, which is K percentage and D percentage. Then, if we see to the chart, the K is 34.8% and D is 25.1%. It show the increasing K line crosses above the D line in oversold line. This it will show the signal buy. As we can see, an exhaustion gap is found at the end of the prolonged uptrend and it is used to suggest that the momentum is slowing on that reverses may occur. However, after that, the exhaustion gap, the price will often more sideways before eventually moving against the price, the prior trend. For the double top on the 19 March 2021 and 13 April 2021, a double top happens. After that, the double top are bearish reversal pattern. We can see that the stock price is an uptrend. It will form the double top. And for the bullish pennant, on 23 October 2019, it will show the bullish pennant. As we can see, pennants are contribution, a pattern that the form the price will.
Lihan, same. We divided it into two parts. We look at the double SMA on 10 November, which indicates a sell signal. We can see here the short-term MA cross the long-term MA. MACD, we look at the 60 December where it indicates a buy signal. This is because MACD line cross above the signal line, thus making MACD value higher than the signal. For RSI, we go to the 7 December where the RSI before that date is below 30%. But then RSI line crossed the oversold line on 7 December as its value now 32.5%. This indicates buy signal. Last, for stochastic, we go to the 26th November where the percentage K value is higher than the percentage D, and it happened below the 20% oversold range, thus indicating a buy signal. We go to the 8th February where the shorter MA crossed above the longer MA, thus indicating buy signal for SMA double. MACD line on 28th January crossed above the signal line and histogram begin showing uptrend, thus indicating buy signal too. For RSI, we look at the 21 February where RSI is at 61.9%, but before that date, RSI is actually at 77.8%, which at overbought range. This indicates sell signal. Lastly, stochastic percentage K at 3 February is at 97.1%, which below percentage D line, which is at 99%. As they happen in above 80% overbought range, this indicates sell signal. For pattern, we found bearish flag at August until December 2021 period. These are continuation pattern and occurred due to pullback from strong bearish trend for short time. Bearish flag may indicates the price will most likely to fall after breaking its formation. For wedge, we found it at March until May 2022 period. This also a continuation pattern and it formed after uptrend resistance level converging with support level for short time. This indicates that price will likely to fall after breaking from the formation.
There are two parts of Far East stock price movement that we need to analyze, the first and the second semi. Firstly, the first semi. As we can see, all the indicators here shows a buy signal. For example, firstly, we look at the double SMA indicators on 12 August 2021. The indicator shows a buy signal. As we can see in the charts, the shorter average cross above the longer average. The second indicator is the MACD indicators. The indicator shows a buy signal as the MACD lines cross above the signal line. Then for the second semi, all the signal is a buy signal. For example, as we can see the RSI indicator, in the charts, the signal shows a buy signal as the RSI line cross over the oversold line. Then using the stochastic indicator, the signal shows a buy signal as the K line cross above the D line in the oversold range. The first pattern is island tops. As in the charts, when this pattern occurs, the price will decline onwards. On 21 February, as this pattern happened, the price declined from RM2.85 to RM2.75 on 22 February. There is also an increase in volume here. A common gap is a price difference analyzed on an asset price chart. These gaps are common and usually get filled relatively quickly. They are visually depicted as a non-linear jump or drop from one point on the chart to another. As in the charts, the common gaps happen many times.
We separate two parts of Genting Plantation Berhad stock price movement, which are the first and second semi. The first semi starts from July until December 2021 and the second semi starts from January 2022 until July 2022. In the first semi, we discovered a buy signal for Genting Plantation on 15 August 2021 by using a few indicators which are double SMA, MACD, RSI and stochastic oscillator. First, we look at the double SMA. When the shorter average red line passes above the longer average blue line, the indicator gives a buy signal. However, the signal showed a lagging signal as the signal appeared after the trend occurred in a reversal, which is on the 30th of August. For the second indicator, MACD showed a buy signal when the MACD line passed over the signal line on the 15th of August 2021. And thirdly, the RSI signal also showed a buy signal in the same period when the RSI line crossed above the oversold line at 30%. And lastly, the stochastic indicator shows a buy signal when the %K line crosses the %D line on the 15th of August. Second semi, we discovered the buy signal on 31st January 2021 by using the same indicators. According to the moving average indicator, the shorter average red line passes above the longer average blue line and the indicator gives a buy signal. For the second indicator, MACD shows a buy signal when the MACD line passed over the signal line on the 12th of February 2022. And thirdly, the RSI signal also shows a buy signal earlier than the previous indicator, which are on the 31st of January when the RSI line crossed above the oversold line at 30%. And lastly, the stochastic indicator shows a buy signal when the %K line crosses above the D% line on the 31st of January. For patterns of Genting Plantation, we discovered the double tops pattern that forms as the price hits a support or resistance level 2 times before the price turns around and moves in the opposite direction. The pattern occurs twice throughout the Genting Plantation trend line. Therefore, this proves that history repeats itself. The line drawn at the top is the resistance level of the pattern and the bottom line is the support level. As for these cases, this is the negative movement of the patterns where the price will move downwards after breaking the support level. According to the diagrams above, the circle candlesticks showed patterns that are inside day and outside day. The inside day is found near the end of a prolonged uptrend, which suggests that the rally is getting exhausted and is likely to reverse to a downtrend. According to the second diagram, the previous day's price is lower than the next day's, which is viewed as the outside day up. The following movement is uptrend.
Opinion, the current investor need to hold the stock. This is because if we look at the indicator that we use, the RSI is at 63.6%, which indicate that it want to cross above the 70%, which is overbought line. We also know when the cross above the overbought line, this is indicate that the sell signal at that position. We move to the MACD indicator. If we look at the line chart before the 1 July 2022, line of chart MACD signal has a cross above the signal line while after 1 July, it is likely that the MACD line will be bearish. It's a cross below the signal line. In that situation, investor can sell the stock. As we can see that the current line of chart of the histogram show the positive when the MACD line is above the signal line. For the new investor, we will use the indicator and pattern to determine the right direction. If we look at the using Ichimoku clock movement, we will see it will rise or fall in that in future. The current open price is 0.69. However, the percentage of the line of a chart touch the resistance line is which is 0.7%. It also very risky if a new investor want to buy this stock. However, the new investor can wait for the current price to fall on the support line. If we look at the William R, the line of chart cross above the moving average line. However, the line is likely to touch the overbought line. This will give an advantage to a current investor to signal a sell in the future. I do not recommend for the new investor to buy on the July 1, 2000 opinion. The current investor need to hold the stock. This is because if we look at the indicator that we use, the RSI is at 63.6%, which indicate that it want to cross above the 70%, which is overbought line. We also know when the cross above the overbought line, this is indicate that the sell signal at that position. We move to the MACD indicator. If we look at the line chart before the 1 July 2022, line of chart MACD signal has a cross above the signal line while after 1 July, it is likely that the MACD line will be bearish. It's a cross below the signal line. In that situation, investor can sell the stock. As we can see that the current line of chart of the histogram show the positive when the MACD line is above the signal line. For the new investor, we will use the indicator and pattern to determine the right direction. If we look at the using Ichimoku clock movement, we will see it will rise or fall in that in future. The current open price is 0.69. However, the percentage of the line of a chart touch the resistance line is which is 0.7%. It also very risky if a new investor want to buy this stock. However, the new investor can wait for the current price to fall on the support line. If we look at the William R, the line of chart cross above the moving average line. However, the line is likely to touch the overbought line. This will give an advantage to a current investor to signal a sell in the future. I do not recommend for the new investor to buy on the July 1, 2000.
For intermediate, we suggest investor to not buy the stock as Ichimoku Club shows sell signal. While for current investor, we suggest them to sell their stock as MACD before 1 July and double SMA breach mean sell signal. For long term, we suggest new investor to hold their intention to buy for a while. This is because long-term double SMA, rectangle pattern sideways movement, and long-term support level breach indicates the possibility that the price can go even lower. For the current investor, we suggest them to sell as the mentioned reason indicate strong sell signal and stock can go even lower in the future.
From my point of view, for current investor, I recommended that they hold their stock for the time being. It is because as we look at the indicator signal, firstly the MACD indicators, it is not recommended to investor to sell their stock as now the price is low and the MACD line will cross the signal line soon. As for the second indicator, which is RSI, it shows a buy signal as the RSI line cross over the oversold line. So it is not a good time to sell their stock. Then look at the stochastic indicator. It's not recommended to sell their stock as the K line cross above the D line in the oversold range. Regarding new investor, it is not recommended to buy stock in recent times. As we look at the MACD indicator, the MACD line will not cross the line within a few days or weeks. As for RSI indicators, new investors are not recommended to buy as the RSI is above 30%. Furthermore, double SMA indicator shows the sell signal seen since July, and the price has been in a downtrend and in a bearish formations. Next is the Ichimoku cloud. On the latest day of 15 July, the stock price moved below the cloud. This shows a sell signal as the price moved below the baseline. Lastly, as we look at the Williams R indicator, the Williams R line will hit the overbought line sometime in the next week or months. From my viewpoint, in the long-term periods, the current investor recommend selling their stock for now. We can see the long-term uptrend trendline channel from mid of August 2021 until mid of June 2022, and then become a downtrend starting in late June 2022 until the latest dates. If the current investor wait for more time, the price will be lower than the latest date, as it started to show a downtrend after a long uptrend. We can see that the resistance becomes support in late December 2021. In February 2022, the price found the resistance, and in the same month, the price broke the resistance, and the price of this stock returned to the previous resistance and now become the supports. Then for new investor, it is not recommended to buy the stock in recent times. As look at the MACD indicator, the indicator shows in a sell zone as the MACD is below the signal line. Moreover, in the WSMA indicator shows that the shorter average just crossed the longer average just recently, which show a signal line. It is not a good time to buy the stock as the price movement of the stock will be in the downtrend.
This is the recommendation for Genting Plantation for intermediate term investment. The major trend that appears, as we can see, is a downtrend. And in my point of view, a new investor is not recommended to buy Genting Plantation stock at the recent time, as the trend does not show any valid breaking out of the downtrend. Moreover, other indicators also do not show any bullish signal. On the other hand, it is advised that current shareholders who are already invested in Genting Plantation keep their holdings of the company shares. The price of the stock has dropped to its lowest level in the intermediate term. As a result, selling the shares will not result in a profit for the holders of the stock. The long-term performance of the Genting Plantation stock over the course of more than a year is depicted in the chart seen just above. In order to provide a reliable picture of the performance of long-term investment, we use the moving average of 100 and 200 time periods. Early in the month of March, the shorter moving average crossed over the longer moving average, which may be indicative of an upcoming bullish signal. I would advise a new investor to buy some of the company shares due to the fact that the price of the stock has just dropped to its lowest point. And last but not least, it is strongly suggested that current owners of Genting Plantation stock continue to hold onto their shares. The present price is at its all-time low, which means that selling it would not result in a profit under any circumstances. Ultimately, Far East will be the top advised stock to buy in 2022. The KLCI goes negative, the Far East turns bullish, suggesting that this specific stock's performance is essentially strong versus the bearish market in 2021. For the consumer product and service, the best company is Jacob compared to Lihen. It is because if we look at the price movement of Lihen, we can see that it is a downtrend for a chart line. In general, Jacob seems to be more durable and reliable compared to Lihen. Thank you so much for watching.